Hello and welcome to another episode of the Her Business Podcast. I'm Susie, CEO at Her Business and your host. Now, January is one of my favourite months of the year, not because it represents so many new opportunities, but also because it's Sales and Marketing Month inside of Her Business. And I love Sales and Marketing Month. There are so many juicy and actionable areas of marketing that we're able to dive into and always so much fun to talk about. Now, speaking of fun, the mission of our guest today is to take the complexity out of marketing and put the fun back in. Now, she has almost 30 years of commercial marketing experience. She's an educator. She lives and breathes marketing. Now, her name is Natasha Buttler and her business is Boost Marketing Services. And I'm so excited for you to hear this conversation. Now, you know that my tagline at Her Business, our tagline is do what you love every day. And I think it's a pretty great tagline, but I must admit, Natasha might have a really close second with her tagline, which is you can't sell a secret. And she's all about taking small and medium-sized businesses from being best kept secrets to being known and valued and booked out. Isn't that great? And today I'm talking with Natasha about how small businesses can nail their marketing with $0 in the marketing pot. These are completely free ways that you can amp up your marketing to be seen and to get your message out there. So if you are ready to dive in, let's go. Hey, Natasha, welcome to the show.
Oh my goodness, Susie, thank you so much for having me. Super excited.
I am so excited to have you here. We were talking just before we started to record about the fact that you are in far north Queensland. You're living in Townsville, which is where my partner PJ was raised, but that you're originally from Melbourne. And we were talking about, oh my gosh, what a contrast. Tell us a little bit about how you got to be where you are.
Susie. So working in Melbourne, living in Melbourne, just the whole grind. So my background was marketing and sales and in brand management and a lot of travel, like a lot of travel. And so my role got made redundant and I sort of went through a bit of a, crisis, I guess we'd call it, loss of identity, all the rest of it. And my husband and I had spoken about, with bucket list thing, let's move up to the tropics. And so we did. And we call this our life holiday because we, get to live in the tropics where people spend their 4 weeks vacation every year. So it's great fun.
That's right. Well, good for you. You work very closely with local businesses. Now, you specialise in supporting product-based businesses, which is always interesting to me. A lot of our listeners I know are in service-based businesses, but increasingly we're getting inquiries from women who have product-based businesses looking for the support that we offer inside of our network. So we'll talk a little more about that. But what I want to talk about is low-cost marketing strategies. How have you been able to what are some of the most creative, if you like, low-cost marketing strategies that you've seen work really effectively for small businesses and for your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Susie, having come from being in a corporate marketing background and now working with small to medium businesses, I can absolutely assure you that even at a corporate level, multinational brands, there is still not enough marketing budget ever.
Right.
Said no marketer ever that there is enough money to go around. So it's always been about how can we be creative and get the most bang for our buck. And I think one of the things that I think a lot of people get really overwhelmed with in marketing is actually doesn't need to be as complicated as what you think it is. It really can be simple and about repetition. So it's probably not thinking too far out of the box, but a couple of things for me that when I'm talking to clients and about the must-do things to set up, Google Business is my number one thing. It doesn't cost anything to set up a Google Business profile, yet the data shows that in Australia, 95% of people use Google as their main search engine. That's the place that we're starting. So setting up that Google Business profile, making sure that you own it as well so that you've got it verified, that it's in your name or in your business's name. And then that also means that you can get Google reviews, and they are so, so important. So it doesn't cost anything to do that, but it is such a really powerful tool. So my one tip though for people to set that up, Google will then be very kind and turn around and send you a voucher to say, hey, you've set up, you clearly have a business. Do you want to spend some money with us? I say absolutely, hands down, do not use that very kind voucher that they give to you, because they will spend your money faster than somebody who has hacked into your bank account. really, honestly, it will go very quickly. So you want somebody who actually knows what they're doing to set up Google Ads for you. But Google Business Profile is number one, absolutely hands down. The other one too is about being the face of your business. So
tell us about that.
Okay, so I know a lot of people are terrified about, putting themselves out there, being on social media. And I know I was definitely one of those people too. I wanted to, having worked with brands, I wanted to hide behind the brand and not put myself out there. But one of the very first marketing campaigns I ever wrote was to launch Elders fertilizer program, which is an agribusiness product. And I did some market research. And one of the things in the research that came back was the reason why farmers chose Elders to purchase their fertilizer from was because of the people that they deal with. And so it always comes back to people, and people connect with people. So it's not about you. It's about your customer, and your customer wants to connect with you because they want to connect with a person and build a relationship with you. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there looking however it is you look. Oh my gosh, my hair, it's not quite perfect today, even though you and I both had a little bit of lippy on before we got on.
We sure did.
And sort of making ourselves look a little bit more presentable. But yeah, be the face of your business because people connect with people, which then also leads into networking as well. I cannot emphasize enough how important networking is for being in business. And it's just because I know, again, networking can be just so terrifying. I know the first time I turned up to a networking event, I turned up and realized I got there a little bit late and there was all these people and I didn't know a single person and I just drove straight past. I didn't go in.
Wow.
But I did learn, though, is that one of the best tips to networking is be one of the first people there. So other things, you want to be the last person there or later on. But for when you arrive at a networking event, if you're the first person there, then you're automatically going to be the first person people to speak to. So you've automatically got a connection straight away, as opposed to trying to break into little groups. So networking consistently too is really, really important. And they are all free things. Those three things that I just spoke about is Google Business Profile, using yourself to create content, being the face of your business, and networking are three things that you can do for nothing. I
love that. Right. We can all do those things. Now, Google Business, thank you for that tip. And I think that if you do have a Google Business Profile, go have a look at it. It might be a while since you set it up. You want to review that. Being the face of your business, I know that inside of her business, I feel like one of my roles is to help women become more visible. And I know as an introvert myself that it can feel kind of hard, but you have so much support. There are so many ways to be able to do this without feeling like you have to be an influencer or you have to be dancing in your bikini. It's not what it's about. No, there's a strange sound coming through. Oh, it's gone. Okay. All good. And then the final one you said was networking, which of course that is.
And that's what the Her Business is all about.
That's what it's all about. But we're not about throwing your business card around, if anyone still has those, or making like fake introductions to each other. It's really about finding commonality and how we can support each other. Can we be strategic alliances? Do you have my ideal customer? Am I your ideal customer? But unless we have those connections and we make those connections, we won't know. And like you said, they're three free things, which brings me to my next question, which is for women business owners who are doing their own marketing. You've just given us three things that they can do for free. Is there any other advice that you have for making the most of their limited time and resources?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, batching. Batching content is really easy. You can sit down and do 3 hours a month and you can get easily a month's worth of content out there. Set up some theme days so that you've got some ideas set up already. When I do a lot of training in regional areas here in Queensland, and one of the pieces of feedback that I give to people is jot down notes. So what's the one question people ask you all the time? You know, when the phone rings, what are people asking you? So you jot that down and you know that that's content that needs to be created. But I think one of the other things is people seem to think, oh, I've made that. I've done that. I've said that. I can't repeat it. Oh my goodness. Okay, retention spans of people today is minute. And I also teach marketing at James Cook University here in Townsville. And we know that our students' attention spans from when I was at uni, I'd sit in a 1-hour lecture theatre. No, we have to have people, we need to have them moving and thinking and doing other things all of the time. So very quickly. So I haven't remembered what was out there, or else I'm being bombarded with so many messages. I've gone past it today. So don't be afraid to rinse and repeat and share the same things that you already have. And the best example I can give of that is McDonald's have been running the Monopoly promotion since the 1980s. Or might even be the 70s, but 40 odd years they've been running the same promotion. Why? Because it works, and repetition also helps to create recall and for it to be remembered in our minds. So I think that if you're busy, batch it, repeat, but also to set up templates in Canva as well, because again, you're wanting that consistency. Consistency, repetition creates recall. So if I'm constantly seeing those same colours, we all know the Her Business red, we know that frame. As soon as we see it, we know what it's related to, even if it doesn't have your face in it, Susie. We know that it's come out of Her Business. So set up those templates so that we've got some branding and creating recall there.
Very good.
Don't overthink it. Batch, rinse and repeat, and set up templates.
Set up templates. Now, can you give us an example of a business that has successfully used a really unconventional marketing tactic to stand down in what might be a really crowded marketplace?
Yeah, look, probably one of my favourite examples of this. Now, it's not quite a small business, but then it was a business that was in startup phase. And I really wish that I had have come up with this campaign because I just love it so much, the way that it disrupted. So it was Ben Goodfellow from Tradie Underwear. The Tradie, yes. So we all know that brand. Particularly, those of us in Australia know that brand. And what I love with what Ben did when he was setting up Tradie to start with, there was two things that he did, but it was really recognising who the purchaser was of the product as opposed to the consumer and focusing on them. So what the research and the data shows for Ben was that men very rarely buy their own underwear. It's normally mum or the partner. So when they did their TV advertising, because again, small budget, let's go niche, really niche, they fed it all into The Bachelor, knowing that that's what most females in Australia were watching at the time. So their ads were on there. The second thing that they did too was when they were wanting to get the brand ranged in the retail stores with Big W, again, because it was a very small budget that they had, they specifically bought outdoor advertising and bus advertising on the bus routes around where the head office was. So it wasn't about going out nationally, but it was putting it in that very location because they were targeting the category buyers at Big W, not the consumers, but the category buyers to say, hey, look how big we are. You can't walk down the street without seeing the Tradie Underwear sign. And I just really loved that campaign because it was really thinking about, it's not about who's using it, it's about who the purchaser is, who's that person who's going to sign it. And of course, then once they got that deal, then they were able to go out wider and do more advertising around the actual stores. So, yeah, it was just thinking a little bit differently.
I love that. And you bring up something that's really important that we talk about quite a lot inside of Her Business, and that it all starts with the ideal client. And you've made a really good distinction that the ideal client is not necessarily the purchaser. And I was just yesterday, I think it was, speaking to someone who sells to children, a product for children, but the children aren't doing the buying. And so she needs to, be on that bus stand or be in front of where the parents are or whoever the buyer is. And that's a really great distinction that we don't always think about. We think, I create something for, kids, but maybe what you're looking for is parents of 6 to 8 year olds who have a particular condition or teenagers who have acne, but they don't have a budget to go handle that. So good.
And then also too with that, Susie, as well, is just that niching too. So it wasn't that they went really wide, it was going narrow. And I'm a big fan of go narrow and go deep, and then you can expand out. So speaking with your example there with, products for children, okay, who are you actually targeting here? Do you want to do a campaign that really, goes deep on focusing on grandparents? Because we know grandparents love to spoil their grandchildren. So if it's a little bit more of a higher priced item, is it something that you can put to grandparents as opposed to mum or dad that want to be a little bit more practical? So thinking about exactly who it is that you're targeting. And then once you've hit that segment, that you go, yeah, okay, I've done everything that I can for that target audience. Then let's expand out that little bit further. Okay, now let's look at uncles and aunties. Now let's look at mum and dad. But we start with one segment and go really deep there.
Right, because when we have so many ideal clients, one, we don't know what our messaging is going to be. It looks disconnected. But like you said, if we go narrow, there's usually so much depth that we could probably build a seven-figure business just by going narrow on one market. But what a lot of people do is that they try and be all things to all people and end up being nothing to nobody. So I really love that piece of advice. We're going to stay here on the small business owners and talk about social media. So I don't have a big team. I don't have a big budget to run paid ads. You've talked about consistency. You've talked about Canva. I assume that will apply when it comes to social media. But tell us, what are some of the out-of-the-box strategies for small business owners as it relates to social media?
Oh, okay. That's a great question. Some of the out-of-the-box strategies, I think, is really about not overthinking things, again, keeping it simple, but sharing testimonials, sharing reviews, using, honestly, if you can, using AI, ChatGPT, so setting that up for your business, to work for your business, to feed into it all the information about your business. Here's the about page. This is who I am. This is my target audience. Can really help you create content as well. And then for out-of-the-box things to do with social media, again, great question there. It's usually, again, it comes back to the simple things. And some of the simple things that I've seen go really well has been, I didn't mean for that to happen, but I just shared a photo of my family out, all wearing matching branded shirts. And this was a solar installing company. So, they go out and install solar panels, and they just shared a photo of their family and their little ones in the branded tops. And she's there and she was saying to me, Natasha, I don't know what happened, but it just went viral and went everywhere. And I said, of course it is, because it's got that human element to it.
It's relatable. Yes, so good. And, I asked you about out of the box, and you think, well, there's no gimmick here. The gimmick is it's a social strategy.
Yeah.
And people want to connect with people, as you said earlier. And so while some of us are like, well, I don't want my whole life on Instagram, it's about showing your personality. It's giving people a little bit of an insight into what your day is. And I know I have a push-pull relationship, even myself, to think, I'm a business coach, I'm a business mentor, everything I post needs to be business oriented. But I've noticed, Natasha, even myself, sometimes it's a picture of me with my dog Kona, or the picture of me running on the beach. It's those posts that are the ones that get the most traction, even if it feels a little bit, at the time when I think about posting them.
Yes, because that's also too what makes you different. Because there's all these business coaches out there and it's all tick, 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 tick the same, because it's all the outcomes are the same. But the little bits that we connect with is the human elements. So the bits where, oh my gosh, we love seeing Kona out there. Oh, Susie, well done on that run and on your hike, and all of these types of things, because they're the bits of you, and which means that I get to know you better. And of course, we want those human connections. So, I'm getting to know you on that personal level, which that's what we love. So don't be afraid to show those types of things. And I know a lot of people don't like to show their kids on social media.
Yes.
And that's okay. You don't need to. So I know people who just show the backs of their kids. So still use their kids in it. So just sort of show family things, but they just show the backs of their kids rather than faces. So, yeah.
And, there's people who share, this is my smoothie or this is my poke bowl or whatever it is. And we used to always say, I don't want to see what people are eating for lunch, but you'd be surprised.
Yes. Exactly.
I want to know what you're having for lunch. I want to talk about partnerships and collaborations. And I think, in product businesses, but also in service businesses, there's such an opportunity. And it's one of the bits of gold of being a Her Business Network member. I love it when I see members working together. Could you talk to us about this as a strategy?
Okay, that as a strategy is just huge, because it gives you the opportunity to exactly connect with other people's audiences. And I think too, Susie, it really comes from networking. And I actually have sitting up here at my desk here is a quote from James Clear from Atomic Habits,
Yes.
book we received. Thank you greatly. And one of the things he said was, who knows you is more important than who you know. So who knows you is more important than who you know. And I just went, that really is. And going back to that networking, is the reason that I'm sitting here having this conversation with you was because we connected at one of Her Business events. I put my hand up, and terrified, but yes, I put my hand up to speak, and opportunity came, which has now given me the opportunity to talk to and share what I love and passionate about with other people. And I think that's having those partnerships. And, sometimes it's about maybe finding other people who can, who work in a similar space to you, but then also don't be afraid to connect with people who are in almost a different space, because you might be able to complement with them. So a great example here was I connected with somebody who, going back to the solar panels, a wholesaler of solar panels. They asked me to come in to do a workshop on marketing tactics for their actual customers. Completely random collaboration there for me to go and work with them. But it was great because they said, no, we want to support our customers to help them grow their businesses, which will in turn help us grow our businesses. So you just never know where these partnerships are going to come from. And really,
right, because you wouldn't have said, oh, you know what I really need is I really need to find someone who sells solar panels to be a partner.
Not at all. No, exactly. So, yeah, you just never know where that partnership might come from. So again, it's thinking about who has my customer, or who might know somebody who knows my customer. So it's great. So I've gone from being in that space going, oh, solar panels. Now I'm talking to, again, from being out at networking events, I've now gone and pitched to master builders in town and some other groups to say, hey, would your clients be interested in, some marketing workshops?
And what you're doing there, Natasha, which I love, we have inside of Her Business what we call our connection moves. And they're 3 ways to get known, liked, and trusted in any community that you want to be known in. And it starts with showing up. And what I'm hearing you say is you are showing up in front of the people that can possibly help you grow your business. Then you are speaking up, whether it's raising your hand at the event that we met on to say, yeah, I want to share something. And suddenly I think, oh, Natasha knows a lot about marketing. I'd love to have her on the show. So it's showing up, speaking up. And then the third one, which is not as relevant to what we're talking about, but I'll mention it, is lift up. And that is acknowledging someone when you see them doing something great, or giving them an opportunity, like opening a door for someone like those people did with you. And I wanted to share that because what we're talking about with collaborations, you don't have to have the pitch. You don't have to bend someone's arm, to work with you. It's really about finding that common ground where, that company had people selling their solar panels. They want them to be effective so that they can sell more of their products. So finding, like you said, who else has my customer, who could benefit from what I know and love and am passionate about, like you said, that will support my business because I'm supporting them. So I love what you just said.
Yes. Very similar to exactly what you do. Yes. It's all of those things. And that's why I love Her Business so much, is because it does. It sort of fits in with all my values as well and what I love about marketing. So, yes. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, you know that we have a saying at Her Business, which is do what you love every day. And I think I have some clues based on this conversation. But what does it look like in your business, Natasha, when you are doing what you love?
This very thing right here is inspiring next generation of marketers, which I do that because I also teach marketing at the uni here. But also too is I just like to take the complexity of marketing away and make it fun, because I think it's so much fun. And just finding those really simple and easy things that businesses can put in place so that they can have fun in their marketing and not make it hard. Yeah,
I love it. As business owners, we want it simple. We want it simple. Yes. Thank you for helping us make it that way. What would you like to leave us with?
Oh, look, I think the one thing I'd love to leave you with is you can't sell a secret. So don't be a secret.
Oh, I love that. You can't sell a secret. Say more words.
So say more words. Yes. So basically, yes, say more words. Are you telling me to say more words here? But yes. So you need to tell people who you are, what you do, all the time. So continue to remind people. And I think one thing too, so going back to our social media question earlier, Susie, is particularly, so we're talking about Google being a search engine. Social media is also a search engine now. So remembering too is just have a simple line at the bottom of every single post you put out with your connection statement. But this is who you are. This is what you do. So that then so then when people are searching, it's coming up. But also today might be that day that you accidentally posted that image or that video that's gone viral and you don't know who's going to pick it up. So just having that short sentence at the end of every single post you put out will ensure that when we are all lucky enough to have that thing that gets picked up by the Kardashians and goes crazy, that people know who we are, that it's not just a random anything. Yes.
So good. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been such a pleasure. So much fun.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like I said, you've just, tick, 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 all the boxes for me. Doing what I love. Thank you.
Thank you.
What a great chat. I really loved speaking with Natasha. And I think if you pull anything from this interview, it is that showing up for yourself is the best marketing strategy out there, free or paid. Representing yourself and your business, getting out there to networking events, whether they're online or in person, getting out there on social media, attending programs, doing strategy calls, workshops, everything is an opportunity for you to meet your ideal client, even if it feels scary, even if it's intimidating. The opportunities are just too good to miss. Because people want to connect. They want to have conversations with you. People are out there right now with the exact problem that you are looking to solve. They just don't know that you have the solution yet. Maybe you're a little bit of a secret to them. So if you've been on the edge about trying something new, maybe something a little out of your comfort zone, maybe that's going to an industry conference or starting to make reels or just talking more about what you love and what you do in social situations, take this as a little shove to go ahead and do it. And like Natasha said, successful marketing really does come down to the basics. Showing up, getting visibility, connecting in an authentic and human way with more people. And don't worry, if it doesn't feel 100% comfortable, you are not alone. After all these years, I still sometimes have to really pull myself up and go, come on, you're here to serve people. You have something of value. Get out there and do it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, would you leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts? Or you can send me a message at podcast@herbusiness.com or direct message me on Instagram. You'll find us at Her Business on Instagram. And if you don't follow us on Instagram, we are regularly posting business tips. So you definitely want to be following us there. And if you're new to the show, hit follow or subscribe wherever you are to make sure that you get the next episode. Now, over on our show notes page at herbusiness.com/292, you'll find a summary of today's episode and links to any resources that we've talked about, as well as, of course, links to Natasha's business. Thank you so much for being here. Join me next time right here on the Her Business podcast. Bye for now.